Oh, I am so excited about today's show. We're going to learn so much about Madoki Farms and, of course, the one and only CEO of Indigenous Experiences, Trina Simard, is joining us now. Hi, Trina. How are you?
Hello, I'm great, thanks.
Trina, we've spoke a lot over the last number of years, and when we saw each other today, we're like, we're finally meet in person.
I know.
Which is what your festival is all about, and that's gathering people together. Talk to me about this beautiful festival happening for summer solstice.
Absolutely. So, and that's exactly what Summer Solstice is. It is our chance to not only for our own community to gather and celebrate National Indigenous History Month, but to welcome all of our neighbors from across Ottawa to come and join the circle and learn and experience and just really celebrate our Indigenous community.
Lots to celebrate. So let's start at the very beginning. We'll do the who, what, when, where, and how. So tell us when we're getting together and how we go about participating.
Yes, for sure. So this year is a little bit different for us that we are partnering with different venues across the city. So you may see some of our programming at the libraries, at the National Arts Centre, National Gallery, all throughout the month. But it all comes together for our big event, our Summer Solstice Festival, which is June 21st to 23rd. And it's all happening at Madoki Farm, which is at 4420 West Hunt Club Road. And I should say we don't have any parking. We welcome lots of visitors, so we have free shuttles and parking from Algonquin College, and it's happening all 21st through 23rd.
It's brilliant, and I have the pleasure every single day I drive by Madoki Farm, and every single day I think about you, and I think about what's happening there, because I think people might drive by, they might be a bit curious, they see those beautiful flags, but they may not understand not only the summer solstice, but the beautiful things that are happening there every single day. So aside from the summer solstice, tell us exactly what happens at the farm.
Yes, and I hear that from so many people that they drive down Hunt Club Road, and when I meet them, they say, I've always wondered what's happening there. You know, we're so happy to have our own space and move on to the farm. We've been doing summer solstice and our Indigenous experiences in Ottawa since 2000, but only the last couple of years at the farm, and it's really allowing us to open up year-round. We hold other seasonal festivals, but we're open every Thursday to Sunday as well. So we've had lots of families discovering us and coming and just, you know, visiting the animals, the Ojibwe spirit horses, visiting our marketplace. We sell Indigenous arts, crafts, and farm products. Walking our trails. We've got a legacy trail with some, you know, beautiful signage that teaches about the 7 grandfather teachings, the natural medicines. So it's really just kind of a, you know, year-round place where we can invite people in and share our culture.
And here's what I love so much. Let's just talk about the trail for a second.
Yeah.
I think normally we take our kids on a trail and we might know a lot of what we're going to see.
Yeah.
What I love about this, our families are learning together, Trina, because, and I've told you this before, and I will tell anybody that'll listen, I'm embarrassed that I don't know enough about the Indigenous community. So I love that this is an opportunity for everyone to learn, and in such a beautiful space with so much grace.
Aw, thank you so much. And that's, you know, really what we're trying to do. You know, our farm is about sharing the land and sharing our teachings. You know, and I think there's a lot of change in families looking to learn that. You know, unfortunately, none of us learned much of it in school. And I grew up in an urban environment myself. And, you know, I think that's, you know, I'm from both British and Ojibwe heritage. And, you know, when I moved to Ottawa, I think that's why I was inspired to, you know, create that opportunity for more people to, you know, learn about the Indigenous culture that we weren't learning about in school, and, you know, kind of create that safe space for people to come together both from our community and learn more about the culture that they might have been missing in an urban space, but also to welcome in the communities and just create that, you know, place to engage and, you know, meet Indigenous artists and makers and, you know, just have that opportunity to share and reconcile.
And you know how I feel about those beautiful horses.
Yes.
So walk us through why these horses are so special.
Yes, and they actually, you know, really inspired the entire farm. So we've been doing Indigenous cultural experiences for many years. And just during the pandemic, I had learned of these Ojibwe spirit horses. My daughters are both longtime equestrians, and we are Ojibwe. and I had never heard of them, so I thought it was such an important part of our culture and our history that I wanted to share with our community, you know, and open up. So they are Canada's only Indigenous horse breed. You know, and our elders say they ran wild through our forests, you know, through northern U.S. and Ontario, like our deer and our moose, and our community had a deep connection with them. And we almost lost them in the 70s. It went down to only 4 remaining horses. So there's really dedicated Ojibwe spirit caretakers now, and we're all, you know, really working to restore the breed and help teach people about, you know, their importance and everything that they have to share and teach with us.
Of course, and they're just beautiful.
They are.
I think you have to see them in person, really,
Yep.
to understand. And you know, we were saying as well that, you know, obviously the farm being open, you know, 365 days in terms of that you're available to see it all the time. But this festival really brings people out. And I love the fact Algonquin College has partnered with you for parking. That's a brilliant partnership there. So walk me through, if somebody says, okay, this festival is the 21st of June to the 23rd, and they're planning their time, walk us through what we can expect on a daily basis.
Oh, so we have so much going on that, you know, hopefully people get a chance to return even. So we start our programming on National Indigenous Peoples Day, which is the 21st. And we've got, you know, cultural showcases happening on our celebration stage. We're doing lots of fun family programming, like interactive Métis games, Algonquin language bingo.
I love that.
You can create some great crafts, like do some beading or, you know, create things to take. We have over 40 Indigenous vendors there, so it's a great marketplace to shop. You can taste Indigenous foods that I know Trudy will speak on a bit later. And then in the evening, we have the powwow starts. So the powwow is really the heart of our event, and it's a competition powwow. So we get some of the best drums and dancers from across North America that'll come in and compete. And this year we have Northern Cree, which are, you know, a highlight for us, a really popular drum, Grammy-winning powwow drum. So they're joining us. And we've added some really fun evening programs. So on June 21st, as the powwow winds down, we're having in DJ Shub, who many in Ottawa may remember from
cool
A
is
Tribe
that?
Called Red. And we're doing the first that we've ever done, like a glow-in-the-dark powwow dance party on the powwow field. So with DJ Shub, and we have Thielen Kicknosway with glow-in-the-dark hoops, and we're passing out some glow-in-the-dark stuff, and it'll be really fun. And the powwow continues all weekend, and so all weekend long, Saturday and Sunday, we have like interactive Ojibwe horse experiences with Rhonda Snow, all the family programming and cultural stage. And then Saturday night, we have a drone show with Indigenous Tourism Ontario, and it is going to be spectacular. We're building the storyboards now. And it's basically 250 drones in the sky, and we're telling the 7 grandfather teachings. So there'll be, you know, bison walking across the sky and eagles flying, and it's going to be a beautiful show. So that'll be late Saturday night. So it's busy and happening all weekend, depending what people, you know, really want to experience. But we have lots that come in for the whole day and try and take in as much as they can.
Wow, I feel like I need a nap just listening to the plans. Just not even that weekend, but just the plans alone. Wow, it's really impressive. And I know culinary, we're going to speak with Trudy, as you mentioned, in a few minutes, but the culinary piece of this, you helped to introduce me to this. I had no idea the incredible culinary works that come out of the Indigenous community. I mean, I've been blessed to have a meal, and I was just so touched by how delicious the food was, but how the food is created is incredible.
And that's really what we try. And I mean, I think with any culture, to me, you know, tasting the food, I think always shared so much about the culture and community. But, you know, for us, it's that relationship with the land and the harvest and kind of our traditional connection with the food. And don't get me wrong, you know, at the powwow and the powwow circuit, you know, we all love our Indian tacos and our more, you know, contemporary things that are kind of for our gatherings. But, you know, there's really something, you know, that appeals with formal long table dinners, if you want to kind of have that full culinary experience, or, you know, trying an Indian taco or a strawberry juice, or, you know, in different ways to experience the culture that way.
It's really incredible, and everything happening at Madaki Farm is one of those opportunities for people to bring their kids, to make it an annual experience for them as well. Do people need to get tickets in advance, Trina? How does all that work?
No, so admission is free to
Wow.
Summer Solstice, as well as free shuttles and parking with Algonquin. And you know, for us, we just want to make it as open and accessible that everybody can bring their family and participate. There is some paid workshops that you have to pre-register for, so any of the kind of craft or food ones are pre-booked with tickets online, but otherwise people can just either take OC or drive out to Algonquin and hop on a shuttle. They're leaving like every 5 minutes and come and join the festivities. So,
Do you pinch yourself? We only have about 30 seconds, but do you pinch yourself of how far that this has come in such a relatively short period of time?
I do. I live and breathe Solstice all year. As soon as it wraps up, I'm always thinking, what great new things can we do next year? You know, like Indigenous artists and elders, we have, you know, such great things to share through so many different components. It's basically endless what we can do with programming. And so I love seeing it growing and expanding every year.
You do a beautiful job.
Aw,
Beautiful
me
job.
grudge.
Thank you so much. Trina Samard joining us. She is the CEO of Indigenous Experiences, and she's talking all about summer solstice, and she's inviting you. When we come back, we're going to learn all about that culinary experience. Stay with us on An Hour to Give. I'm Sam Laprade. We're welcome back to An Hour to Give. I'm so excited to welcome the one and only Trudy Metcalf Coe. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's so nice and cool in here.
It's nice and cool in here, which is very good. And of course, we're talking all about Madaki Farm today and all about the incredible summer solstice that's coming our way. And as an Inuk chef, do I call you chef?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been given the title of
You're a
chef by
chef.
other chefs.
Well, because you deserve it, because I've tasted your food.
Awesome.
I love talking about culinary experiences with you when it comes to summer solstice, because you always teach me something. And then one day, this beautiful meal arrived at my door that you cooked.
Oh, that one.
And
yes.
I still remember it. It was delicious. And I thought, why do I not know more about the culinary delights from the Indigenous community? Walk us through, as a chef, what do you want us to know? What do you want Canadians to know about the culinary experience?
I can primarily speak as an Inuk chef.
Right.
And yeah, so I've been a part of the Summer Solstice Indigenous Festival since 2018. When they invited me in, there was a lot of stuff going on. It was at Vincent Massey Park at the time. And going in there and meeting other Indigenous chefs, like 7 or 8 of them, and we had like a long table dinner, we had food sections for trying different foods and stuff. And I think it's really important, like the distinction of the different nations and the different foods that are part of our cultures. Like with myself, in Inuit, being in the north, we're our land and sea animals, so you know, we have caribou, we have muskox, we have Arctic char, we have whale, seals, those sorts of things. So those are the foods that I know more about. But I was also executive chef at Madaki Farm for a year, and I still do help with a lot of their events when I'm available. So I've also taken the opportunity, and with great privilege, like learning First Nations foods.
Right.
And there's been a couple of times where somebody's asked me to make something, and I was like, okay, well, you know, what's in it, or what's the recipe? And somebody would show me something. I was like, yeah, I can't do that.
That's funny.
So I would just like, I'll do it. I'll use all your ingredients, but can I make it mine?
Right.
So that I don't want to be the person that's cooking other people's foods and pretending like it's something I've been doing for all of my life. Like I'm learning also in a lot of those ways.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure I'm doing those foods honor.
Yeah.
Because if I'm the one who's there doing it, because there isn't somebody else who's available, who's able to do me, that's when you're cooking for a couple of thousand people, it's a lot of work, and being able to make those recipes and make sure you're doing justice to the different cultures and the different foods. It's really, really important to me. And I don't want to pretend that I know it all, because there's so much. And
you've always been so, as Trina has been, so gracious around the questions that I've asked you, because I'm learning, right? We're all learning, I guess. But I feel like when we can gather around food, then I feel like I can ask you questions, and it doesn't feel as if I'm, that I'm doing something that is odd, if you will. Like, why do you think food is that sort of great connector?
I think because every culture, every area has their specialty, their foods. There's so many foods that we might not be able to get in certain parts of the world, but they're specialized somewhere. When I travel, I like to try things from the areas. And I just think it's one of those things, like welcoming people around a dinner table, opening doors to share what we have. And in the Indigenous cultures, and definitely in the Inuit culture, it's really, really important to share our foods. We wouldn't have survived if we just hunted and fished for ourselves and nobody else. We were small groups. We had to share what was available. A lot of people might not have the means or the ability to go out and hunt and fish for themselves. So there was people relied on community. And that's still really important today. No matter how little or how much we have, it is shared. Even if it's just a taste. If I have just a taste of something and you're new to it, and it's like, here, have some, just taste it, or give you what I have because I know what I'm having and I'm sharing it with you.
Wow.
And I think that's it's just one of those things. It's like every culture has its own bread, right? And there's just so many other things based on where we're from, what regions we live in, and what we've been able to do with our foods. And I'm certainly not a traditional chef, because a lot of our foods were very simple meals. Like, we just didn't have the grocery stores and the means to have, all fresh fruit and vegetables and stuff. We were primarily meat and fish. And before contact, there wasn't a whole lot more. There was some berries on the land, but we didn't have, it's winter, 10 months of the year. So I'm doing a lot more non-traditional foods, or bringing in cross-cultural, making things that might combine country food, like caribou with spices from India, for example, or something from Mexico or Costa Rica, or using bison in lieu of caribou for some of my dishes, because caribou is not as readily available now. Bison is more readily available. It's a really nice meat. And also because I'm learning how to use those foods, and so incorporating them. And primarily I do, like I said, country food, Inuit, promoting Inuit culture and foods, but over the last 6 years, learning a lot about the First Nations and other Indigenous cultures.
And summer solstice is the perfect opportunity to bring people together as well, and the food component is there. Talk to me a little bit about what people can expect if they're attending summer solstice, June 21st to 23rd.
So on the 21st, I think there's a lot of education days. There's going to be vendors and stuff on site. The vendors will be on site over the weekend. There's 7 or 8 different vendors right now, and they're all Indigenous. When it comes to things happening through Madauke, I'm doing culinary classes on the Saturday, I believe at 2 o'clock and 4:30. So people can actually register to cook a dish with me. I'm going to be doing like a blackened Arctic char, possibly with a hollandaise sauce, some roasted potatoes, and then some sage butter corn. So I'm doing the country food from the Arctic, like the Arctic char, but I'm also bringing corn and sage butter with First Nations, right? So doing a little bit of everything.
Love that.
So there's that, and then we also have Tanya Brandt from the Six Nations Grand River Territory. I don't know her, and I hope I'm doing that justice. She's the special chef this year, doing a long table dinner. So she'll be doing the long table dinner on Saturday. There's 2 sittings, one at 1 o'clock and I believe one at 6 o'clock. And then on Sunday, she's going to be doing a culinary workshop also, where she's going to be doing one of her traditional strawberry desserts. Oh. And she's a well-known chef. She was on Top Chef Canada. She owns a restaurant, so she does a lot of bringing traditional foods into the more modern, I guess, and we're always doing something new and something different.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's exciting, and with First Nations especially, like anything that's on the land is traditional food, right? So we're also having a food truck as a part of the vendors too from Madauke Farm. And for that, I'm going to be doing bison burgers and Three Sisters salad. So I'm doing traditional Three Sisters salad, but I created a salad dressing to go with it. And then we're also going to be doing a pasta salad with using some fresh herbs and stuff like that.
So, I'm going to tell you that Three Sister salad, I've eaten it
Oh,
because
nice.
you've served it to me before, and
Okay.
it was, I still think about it. It is delicious. So what food, if all Canadians could try food from your culture, what one food would you say you have to try? Is it, you mentioned Arctic char a lot, and I've always wondered about that. But you tell me, what's the one food?
I love fish. So I'm Inuit, but I also grew up in Newfoundland. So I'm Newfoundland and Labrador, right? I'm a Newfie Inuk.
Yeah, I love it.
So fish has been a big part of who I have been all my life. I grew up with a lot of codfish because of being in Newfoundland. Arctic char, I more or less came in contact with probably about 35 years ago. I'm giving away my age a little bit here.
It's all good.
And Arctic char is so versatile. And it is so clean and so fresh and so... it's hard to compare it to anything really because it's, all fish has its own flavors.
Right.
But if I was going to, I would say it's somewhere between a cross between like a trout and a salmon. The texture is a little firmer than salmon, but it has more of a trout flavor. And I like the Arctic char, and as Inuit, we eat it a lot of times just frozen raw, dipped in soya sauce.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like eating ice cubes almost, right? But really fresh, clean, kind of like just a clean water.
Chef,
taste.
you are making me hungry.
I know.
You are
It's like when I
making me
think about it, it's
hungry.
like I'm going home and having some Arctic char for supper.
Oh, that sounds great.
And we just cut it up and dip it in soya sauce or a little bit of salt on it. But I also make so many dishes, like the blackened Arctic char is one of my dishes. Maple glazed smoked Arctic char won awards. Arctic char ceviche, which I've done for some events. They're all, and it's just one of those things it's easier to access. I can get it from almost anywhere across the north, so I'm not limited to just having one place to source it.
Right.
And I do try to get it from hunters and fishers, as opposed to going to a grocery, to buy it from a store or something. But sometimes that has to happen. And the nice thing with fish too, with Arctic char, is if people can't get it, they can still do the recipes that I teach with salmon or trout.
Right, something else, yeah.
So I like to do that with foods too. So if I'm making, especially if I'm teaching classes or trying to share something, making it so that people have access to foods, that being able to switch the ingredients and having a similar experience if they can't get bison, for example, or caribou. So having alternatives. So it just fits, it reaches more people.
Yeah. And that's what this festival is all about, right? I'm so impressed. I think about all the years that we've spoken on radio, which was on the phone, of course, and how the festival has grown. And I was saying earlier to Trina Samard how far that the message has gotten that, that this is a welcoming opportunity. This is an opportunity to be welcomed into the community and learn and then share and bring more people back the next year. I think you're just, wanting to grow year after year.
Yeah, it's really, for us, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a time for us to be celebrating summer solstice and stuff too, and so we could be a part of things. Right. And we talk about this sometimes in the back, right? We're always like, oh my gosh, this is our day to celebrate, and we're here, and we're all working so hard. Yeah. But it is, I think we do it because we love it. We're proud of who we are. We're proud of where we come from. Yeah. And we want to share that with people and just have and it's grown so, I've only been involved for about 6 years, like I said. And when they first reached out to ask me if I wanted to come in and be a part of the competition for the food black box challenges and stuff, I was like, there's no way. I don't compete. I'm not doing that. No desire. I just don't want to compete against somebody who we want to build each other up. Right. And it's like, so anyway, we kept going, and it's like, you'll be the only Inuk. I was like, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you've done a beautiful job.
I've loved it.
Beautiful job.
Thank you.
And Chef, it's been great to get to know you today and see you in person finally.
Yes.
I wish you all the best for the summer solstice, and look forward to tasting something else you've made in the future. Absolutely.
I'm looking for, always something new coming up.
Always something new. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Trudy Metcalf-Coe joining us today. She is a beautiful chef, and we're so glad that she's here today. We're talking all about the summer solstice, of course, with the Madaki Farm. You'll want to get involved as well. Stay with us on An Hour to Give. We're talking all about summer solstice today, and I know who's sunny and bright, and that is the one and only Julie Bune. Julie joins me now. Hello,
hello,
sunshine.
my love.
You're like sunshine arriving on the set today. You have got so many hats in this community, so I have to say, what hat are we wearing today? CAA.
CAA is the hat today. Yeah.
And it's an important role. Talk to me a little bit about your role with CAA.
So, one of the things that I love, well, I'm Managing Director of Communications and Public Affairs, which is like, throw everything out of the junk drawer into my desk, and that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But one of the key things for this purpose that I do is really talk a lot about what we can do to build community. And what parts of our community could we serve better? Now, I realize that we're a nonprofit, we're geared towards our members and all that sort of thing, but the truth is that CAA is a trusted voice and support in the community as well. So, a couple of years ago, we started partnering with Indigenous groups and Inuit groups, and we have had such an amazing relationship. We're part of their family, they're part of our family. We're transitioning over to also including new Canadians, so we're also sponsoring 5 settlement agencies across our territory. And so that means, all sorts of festivals, and we're in our second year of sponsoring the biannual Indigenous Music Awards, Summer Solstice, and it just gives us so much joy to be part of this. To be part of something bigger than yourself is really one of the defining things in my life.
I love it. And, the fact CAA, like you said, has a trusted voice for Canadians, and to be associated with Summer Solstice, which is going to be spectacular again this year, June 21st to June 23rd. It's really an opportunity for the community to be invited in and ask those questions and learn. When I think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it really takes people asking the questions and people willing to answer them.
Right.
And that's what this weekend's all about.
It's interesting because my CEO, Jeff Walker, we were at Jazz Fest last year, and we had invited our partners from Tuungasuvangat Inuit Ontario, which is our Indigenous partner for the next 3 years. And he basically put it this way. He said, I'm so glad we're family now, because we don't know the questions that we're supposed to ask. And it's embarrassing to admit that you don't know. So now we can say, before we even get started on what do you need, let's start with what questions should we be asking. And I think that's an interesting place of vulnerability and humility that we all kind of need to start from, I think, generally in life, right?
Agreed.
So, the thing about Summer Solstice is it really is a community event. Everybody can go. Everybody from all walks of life. I was just telling the organizers that as part of our gift back to the community, we're inviting new Canadians and giving them access. And the reason for that is, was again talking to our friends over at Tuungasuvangat Inuit Ontario, and they are interested in talking to new Canadians. Why? Because they have a chance to explain who they are and their culture without any of the sort of historical interpretation. Right? And I just think that's amazing. I think what a wonderful opportunity for people to communicate in a really honest way and share.
It's incredible, and there's so much going on. As you mentioned, the awards that you also sponsor. Talk to me a little bit about those awards, because that's a spectacular time as well.
Honestly, probably a highlight. Me, we've been friends for a long time. I have a very busy social life, but that was definitely one of the highlights for me last year, was sponsoring the Indigenous Music Awards. We were a category sponsor, and we're one of the awards that were given to Asen Abbey. He had a spectacular year last year, and honestly, that guy's voice is just, it just sets you off. It's amazing. But everybody who was there, from big names to people just getting started, the sense of community and pride I was like, I am so glad that we're supporting this, because look at how beautiful this is. And are going to be some of the performances at the NAC and around the city, I believe, of the winners from last year. So they're kind of like in their tour year. And I can't wait to expand our relationship with it for next year, because at CAA, we're all music lovers.
And music, and I've said the same thing to Chef Metcalf Co. I think really those things, music and food, bring us together. And this festival's all about music and food and so much more. The powwow.
The powwow.
Is going to be incredible. And the fact they've added the glow-in-the-dark piece.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about being involved with that, because I think that is so ingenious. It's a great way to invite people in and just be creative.
We're like really innovative people, right? In marketing communications. The fact that they came up with that as an added on. So the main powwow is amazing. I've been to it many times. This I sort of think as being this super funkadelic innovation and very modern take on it. It's like this crazy dance party situation, DJ Shub. So for us, it was just like such a natural fit that it's so, energetic and real. I can't wait to go. It's and again, we've got guests that are going to be going to that, and to the long table, the dinner there. Like that is honestly for foodies a highlight, right? Having tickets to that is a ride or die kind of moment, I think.
It's incredible. I mean, there's just so many people get involved. And speaking a little bit about from a CAA perspective, you could market CAA, talk about all the great things CAA does. I've talked to you about a million times about my road ticks I used to have when I was a kid and all of that, and pet insurance and all that kind of stuff. So you could just focus on all that. Why is this such a priority? Because I think about this type of thing as not only building up morale within your own team, that you're thinking about other cultures and thinking about Canadians and thinking about First Nations, Indigenous, Inuk people. I mean, this is what this is such an important part of our culture overall. But you could just do your job. Why add all of this amazing?
I think if you look around Canada, we are a nation of immigrants, and our Indigenous pre-colonial population. And I think we have to find ways to normalize conversations about that. For me, one of the things that I love the most about what I have the ability to do with CAA is to bring those communities together in a very natural way. To give people the opportunity to communicate with each other. And you're right, we could go high and wide and brand, put logo wallpaper all over the place. And the truth is that when we were signing up for this, I said I wanted to trade off on the logo presence and instead get access for people who I wanted to get there, which is why we are putting new Canadians at the festival as, some of our guests. To me, that makes more sense. Everyone knows who CAA is, and if you don't, we'll get to you, right?
Right.
I just think that there are normal conversations that we have every day that we may not have been having 15 years ago. Last year, we sponsored the Truth and Reconciliation Day with the Red Blacks, and we partnered with Indigenous groups, First Nation and Inuit. We hired an Inuit artist to create our T-shirts that would reflect the joy of the Inuit family. We did video, we did articles, we incorporated so many aspects of what they were hoping to achieve. And at the end of the day, it normalized the conversation for everybody. And that's what, right? Like, those are tough conversations, but as you know, in relationships, because most of us avoid them, the more you have the tough conversations and you're really authentic about it, the easier they get.
True.
Right? So let's just put everybody together, have those conversations, normalize what that is. And with stuff like the summer solstice, it's just such a fun, joyful event that really casts the path forward, right? It shows the way forward. Yes, we recognize, we acknowledge all of these things have happened. How can we find a way forward?
How can we move forward?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How will you spend June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in terms of the summer solstice. How will you spend those days?
I am really hoping for a beautiful, warm, sunny day.
Yeah.
I'll be rocking my fringe earrings,
Yeah.
100% with a little outfit of some type. I've got some of my staff going. We have got some of our guests going. We will be going to the music. We will be sampling the food. I think I'm going to be going to the long table lunch.
Wow.
Right? So rather than the dinner, because I've got a conflict that night. And obviously promoting that partnership, I think, it's just one of those things that it's such a natural fit, and it just gives it. I smile just thinking about it, right? So the fact that we can get more people there to enjoy all of it, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's incredible. And what a pleasure to spend time with you today and speak about this incredible summer solstice and everything that it means to the community. We've got lots of other guests going to be joining us soon. You're so involved in the community, Julie. I mean, this is just one part of what you do, but CAA has been involved in so many different things, and it really is lovely to see, and we really do appreciate it very much.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad somebody notices. We put a lot of passion into what we do, and that authentic joy, I think, is what we're always trying to get out into the world.
Yeah, well, you do a great job.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, absolutely. Julie Bume joining us today, of course, from CAA. But we're talking all things summer solstice today. When we come back, you will not want to miss it. Stay with us on An Hour to Give. And we're back on An Hour to Give. I'm Sam Laprade. Thanks so much for joining us today to learn all about the Summer Solstice Festival, which is coming up right around the corner, June 21st to 23rd. And we have some wonderful guests joining us. Emma's joining us, and so is Rayanna. Great to have you both here.
Thanks so much for having us.
It's great to be here. And you, first of all, you look amazing. Amazing, both of you.
Thank you. Miigwech.
And when you were getting ready for today, I had the chance to sort of see you get ready. And Rayanna, I was shocked at, I'm going to call them layers. Is that right? Just layers and layers as part of your outfit today. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, to be a traditional dancer, or to be any kind of powwow dancer, it comes with a big responsibility. And one of those responsibilities is caring for all of our sacred items. So it's very time consuming to put on one piece at a time to make sure that when we go out into the circle, it doesn't fall off. And I mean, I think Owema could speak to that a little bit more than I can.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that, because you, obviously, I watched you as well get ready today. Very impressive.
So a lot of what we're wearing, like she said, is a lot of our spiritual items. So when we're getting dressed and when we're putting on all our regalia pieces, we like to take the time that we need, to really make sure that everything's on, everything's done correctly, and we're taking care of our spiritual items as best as we can.
So speak to maybe one or two items, and maybe give me an idea of one or two items that may help us understand.
Sure. So I'm wearing a lot of eagle feathers today, and this is something that you will often see at powwows. You'll see many different styles, many different dancers wearing these eagle feathers. These are spiritual items. They hold a very important significance in the dance circle. And there's a lot of protocol that comes with taking care of these feathers, taking care of the spiritual aspect of them as well, and not just wearing them,
Right.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And you spoke about powwow, of course, and the summer solstice, the powwow that happens there over a number of days is so important, and it's a learning opportunity for so many of us. Talk to us about what the powwow is going to be like at the Summer Solstice Festival.
Well, I mean, it's an entire week leading up to, we have our education days that are at the Museum of History, and then we go into our National Indigenous Peoples Day celebration, which is going to be on the Friday. And then we also host all of our specials. Now, for those of you who don't know what powwow is, people within the community can request to put on a certain special for a certain style, where they'll host kind of like a little private competition within the larger competition, and people can compete and win different prize items, sometimes money. It really depends on the special and the person. So that's a little bit about our Friday. We're also going to be closing out Friday with a super fun, first of its kind, glow in the dark dance party with DJ Shub and Thielen Kikanoswe. It's going to be so much fun. We're so excited to have both of these amazing artists come and share their talent with everybody. And then we go into the competition powwow, which starts on Saturday. And really, you can expect to see styles like you see here, all kinds of different men, female styles. There's also going to be some of the specials also on the Saturday. One thing I forget to mention with the Friday is that there's going to be the long dinner feast that's going to be happening with Trudy, who you met earlier. And then Saturday, we close out the evening with, again, a first of its kind drone show, which is going to be super exciting. It's I'm super excited to see the Seven Grandfathers teachings in the night sky. It's really a weekend where we come together and we get to socialize and we get to see all of our friends, see our community members. It's a really great place for Indigenous people as well as non-Indigenous people to come and to see an authentic experience, to see and learn what powwow is, and to really kind of enthrall themselves into this beautiful experience.
And there's so many opportunities not only to learn, but to bring our kids, right? Because I think kids would have a lot of questions. Do kids have a lot of questions for you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So what are some of the questions they ask you?
So a lot of questions that we get is just kind of, why do we wear what we wear? Why do we dance? What are the reasons why we dance? And as dancers, we're all taught to dance for the ones who can't. The ones who are sick, the ones who are not feeling that well. So whenever we dance, it's for healing for our people, for the ones that need it. So it's always a fun time to go out and dance.
And you work so hard for this festival, and at the end of the day, what are you hoping has it been achieved at the end of the day, Rihanna?
Well, I think really, in order to reconcile, we have to take the time to get to know one another. And this is a great experience where you can come and meet other Indigenous people, kind of really learn and see the beauty that is our culture and why it's so wonderful and why it deserves to be preserved and why it should be highlighted. It's an opportunity for people to come and learn and to experience that firsthand. Really, we need to get to know each other in order to reconcile. And I think that these are some of the great first steps that you can take towards reconciliation, I like to say.
I love that. You shared that with me a couple of years ago, and I've always remembered it. And I love, thank you for reminding me of that today. It's
Absolutely.
Brilliant. And when you're dancing, talk to me about the preparation for it, the actual dance itself. Walk me through that.
So traditional dancing in this sort of sense, it's really a responsibility upon the dancer to really understand what they're doing. As much as grand as the regalias look, we're not doing this just to look a certain way. We really have a responsibility to uphold those teachings that we've learned when we were younger, and as well as passing those on to the next generation.
Yeah, it's amazing. How do you prepare?
For myself, well, I guess it would really depend on the type of powwow that I'm going to. A competition powwow, you got to make sure everything is secure, everything's on tight, everything is not going to fall. Like Awema mentioned, these eagle feathers and a lot of these items, they're not so easy to make, and a lot of them are given second lives, like these otters here. And so that care and that attention. So really, I start my day off with a good smudge. And I make sure I hydrate because I kid you not, it is pretty warm outside today. So dancing would be a little hot, but this is really, it's a coming together and it's a time to socialize. So really, we all get pretty excited at a chance to come and have our families together and really just have that weekend where we can socialize and, come together as family.
And when you meet somebody that is really curious, and we're asking questions, is there a question you wish somebody would ask you? Is there a question that you haven't been asked yet that I could pose to you today?
That's a very good question. I've been asked like every question in the book, so it's very, very rare that I get a question that I haven't heard before. One that I really like to get is how can I do an act of reconciliation? For me, that's the most heartwarming thing that I could hear. It really shows that they understand what's going on as a whole with Indigenous people, and that they're interested in taking some sort of action. And that's something that really warms my heart every time I hear it.
So let me ask you, what kind of act of reconciliation do you think I could do?
So really the most simple thing is to make those relationships with Indigenous people. No matter where you are in Canada, there is a reserve that is near wherever you are, and they have all tons of resources. They have powwows that are going on, so going out and enjoying the powwow and listening to the MC, listening to talking to dancers, singers, elders, and taking that step to learn is such a huge step to reconciliation. But at the same time, it's very easy to do. It's just kind of taking that first step. Yeah.
And I was speaking about the children earlier, because I would think that children, the innocence of children, they don't know the history. They don't know, sort of the wrongs, if you will. Is it a fresh start when you get a chance to educate a child?
That's a great question, Sam, and I think it's prevalent because we do work with a lot of schools and we do go into schools. And so I've been working with Indigenous experiences, formerly Aboriginal experiences, for 14 years. So over the last 14 years, you can really see the progression. I mean, the education is finally starting to change. We still have very big steps to take, but we're starting to see it now as the kids are starting to come, and that they're a little bit more knowledgeable on the truth and the realities of what happened. And so that starts there. Our teachers get to see our children almost more than we do, right? And so that's the important, is changing the curriculums so that we're doing things in a good way and we're learning the reality and we're learning the truth. So that's what's really nice to see. Like I said, there's still some major steps we got to take, but it is nice to see that things are slowly starting to change.
What wonderful ambassadors. And what does it mean for you to be an ambassador for the festival?
I feel like it's really we're in a position where we have a kind of a responsibility to really make it easy, for the general public to do this, because I understand that sometimes these questions are scary to ask. Sometimes going to these events can be scary, and I really believe that it's our job, it's our responsibility to make that as easy as possible, and to make it a really enjoyable experience, because I believe it should be. Our culture is very beautiful. Our culture is made to be shared, made to be enjoyed. So I think it's really our job to kind of bring that to the forefront and share that with everybody.
Thanks for being so open with me today, both of you. I appreciate it. We've run out of time. I could talk to you two all day, honestly. Rihanna, thank you so much, and Awama, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. And I'm hoping everybody joins us at the Summer Solstice Festival, June 21st to June 23rd. And of course, Modaoki Farm is where you're going to find all the information. I'm Sam Laprade. This has been An Hour to Give. Until next time.
Enjoy free family fun June 21st to 23rd at the Summer Solstice Indigenous Festival. Explore and celebrate Indigenous culture through food, music, art, storytelling, and the marketplace. Don't miss the glow-in-the-dark powwow with DJ Shub, traditional long table feast, an international competition powwow, and a spectacular drone show. Free park and ride shuttle from Algonquin College to Madauki Farm. Get all the info at summersolsticefestivals.ca.